All right, hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to my channel. Like I said, we're gonna do a quick Q&A on pros and cons of being in the National Guard versus active duty. So I got Sergeant Ford here. He's luckily gonna devote some of his time and answer some of your questions or some of my questions that I have for him. So if you want to introduce yourself a little bit, tell him where you started off active duty, how many years you did, and what made you want to come National Guard, I guess.
Yeah, so my name is Sergeant Cameron Ford. I joined the Army in July 2010. I ended up doing just over 7 years in the Army. Served as an infantryman and then a sniper, senior sniper, sniper section leader. Deployed to Afghanistan 2012. Served in Germany, Afghanistan, and then Fort Stewart, Georgia with 3rd ID. And then I decided to transition into the Florida Army National Guard while I go back to school. And now I've been in the Guard for about 15 months or so. Did hurricane duty. I did hurricane duty, not him.
I'd have to go. I lived in Massachusetts, so when they called us, it was Wednesday. They called us at 11 a.m. They said, hey, you're going to be at the unit by 1 p.m. I was like, all right, well, I got to take a flight out there, so I won't be there till 7 p.m. or something. All right, never mind, you're excused. So I got lucky. Hurricane duty is probably... It's rewarding in a sense that you get to help the community, but it's not fun because you're just trapped doing nothing. So...
Well, we were working 18 or 20 hours a day. It was rough.
Yeah, you guys are grinding.
Panama City was destroyed, and that's one of the big things that the National Guard does that I think a lot of people don't think about is that they have both the stateside mission where they do natural disasters like hurricanes,
riots.
You guys did the Gainesville riots.
Yep.
You guys
the white supremacist. Luckily, nothing happened. I mean, we were all excited. We were hoping something happened so we could do something. But luckily nothing happened. Everything was good, and it was a peaceful protest. But yeah, so I guess we'll just jump into it quick because we got formation here in 20, maybe
we got
10, 15 minutes.
Of time. First sergeant's a little pissed.
Yeah, he didn't seem too happy. What would you say? So, what was your favorite thing about active duty? What was the number one thing or top two things that you really enjoyed about active duty that you don't get from the National Guard?
Okay, so I think the biggest thing I enjoyed and I probably missed from active duty is the camaraderie. My section on active duty, we hung out during the day, worked together all day, went to the gym, worked out, and then went to lunch together. We'd go to dinner, we'd have cookouts and have our families together. And, we work together. It's like a normal civilian job kind of, except you spend 70 hours a week together. So I really think that was a big part of it, getting to know these guys, camaraderie, and that brotherhood. And I think the access to schools and the ease of access to move around within the Army. If you're not happy where you are in the Army, it's too easy to submit a packet and go to another duty station, go to another MOS, go be a recruiter or a drill instructor, drill sergeant. You have all these opportunities that people just get.
And that comes down to, I think, government funding and then state funding, how, active duty is, government funded, whereas, the National Guard is state funded, so, we're limited on funds. So, for instance, we are all supposed to go to sniper school. We were supposed to go last year, but something came up and the funding had to get redirected somewhere else, so none of us were able to go. So it's kind of one of those things where they really can't promise you a school. It's they're going to tell you, hey, you can possibly get this school, but it's never guaranteed. So don't put all your eggs in one basket thinking that you're going to get to go to that school that you want to go to unless it's written in paper on documents and you sign papers saying that you're going and stuff like that. So definitely that's something that sucks.
Well, you've seen that too. I mean, basically you have to have Army calls it a PACE plan, which is your primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency. And all right, I want to do this. So I want to go to flight school. Well, if flight school doesn't work, I want to go do this. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to go do this. You have to have those redundancies because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, another 9/11 or another, invasion of Iraq, anything like that could literally happen at any time. So you have to have contingency plans.
Exactly. So not all the funds aren't always going to go towards what you expect them to go to. So that's definitely, like you said, camaraderie is big. Being able to transfer different units as quick as you want is big. What'd you say you didn't like, or do you have anything else that you think of that you really enjoyed about the active duty Army?
The lifestyle, we definitely had. It was easier to get on to a training area. We kind of had access, so we can go to a mount site or just, we're kind of sitting around all day, and instead of playing on our phones, we go out in the back of the woods and we go do target detection, or we do stalks or range estimation, and like we would just go and train, and we had a lot more land space. Whereas here we had access to a local airport, and we lost that. It's really expensive because now the guard has to front the cost to be able to use that training area, and it's like $5,000 a weekend.
Oh wow.
So that was nice, but there was a lot of just sitting around and just waiting. I mean,
kind of like a drill weekend.
Kind of, yeah.
But worse.
Except PT started at 6:30, but you'd have to be there like 5:30 to sit around to wait till 6:30, do PT, and then you're back at 9, and then work until lunch, come back from lunch, and then you work until like 1800, and then you finally get off and go home and do it all again 5 days a week.
So how about the training? Like, so is it like every month you guys do like a weekend training in the woods, or how does that work when you're active duty? Is it like every 3 months that you guys do like a week train up, or?
Yes. So it kind of goes off a crawl, walk, run type, basically, like we do here. You kind of ramp up. So in January, you're starting to do your squad sticks, and you're going out like probably 1 weekend a month. You're out in the woods, and then you come back and you're doing your platoon live fire, your training exercises. So then you're still like once, maybe twice a month, and they try and work it where during the week you're out in the woods for 3 or 4 days, and then you come back and you have the weekend off.
Okay, that's not bad.
And then you ramp up continually until you have either basically many JRTCs at the brigade level. So we had like Spartan Focus, which was our brigade. We had Marne Focus, which was division, and then we went to JRTC after that.
How often do you guys deploy? Because we deploy like every 4 or 5 years. I think active duty is like every year, almost every what?
It was, so it was like that through like all the early 2000s into probably like 2013. It was deploy for a year or so, back for a year or so, and then you're gone again. Now it's probably about 2 to 3 years between deployments.
Okay.
However,
Because everything's slowing down a little bit.
Yep. But because Middle Eastern, Afghanistan, Iraq deployments have slowed down, the training missions in like Europe, so Romania, Germany, those as well as Pacific ones, those have ramped up. So you're still deploying, but those are not
less
too
combat
bad.
zones.
Yeah, less combat
Okay.
zone, and not 12-month deployments. It's 3 to 6 months,
Just tolerable.
which is not bad. And then you should get paid well for that. There's certain incentives that go with deployment.
And so, okay, so those are like kind of your pros of active duty. What didn't you like about active duty?
So
If you
one
want,
was
if you want to answer that.
yeah, no, I don't. I mean, there's pros and cons. It's
Yeah, it's part of everything.
a lot of people that are in the Army, I feel like, talk a lot of crap, or like they hate it while they're there. But any job you go to is going to have stuff that you hate. The thing I didn't like was like sitting around just waiting, and like you're waiting for this one person to tell you that you can go home, and you've been done with all your work like all day.
Like today.
Yeah.
Like,
Like today's one of those days. There's so many people. Like that's the other thing too, is like the guard is a lot smaller. So you just in active duty, there's so many more people that can just come in and just shit on you. Like you have like a random first sergeant or sergeant major just walks by and is just pissed off and starts throwing shade and causing issues for you guys. Like here, it's kind of separated. Every company is basically in a different city, spread around the state.
you're kind of more friendly with them too. Do you interact more with the higher ups here than you would active duty?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
It's kind of a weird, because I think at least this brigade and battalion, from what I've noticed, has a good job of a separation between like rank and or civilian life and personal
Yeah.
life. But I feel like even a first sergeant can still talk to you as a specialist like a grown-ass man and like an
Yep.
adult. Whereas on active duty, it's not like that. It's even like staff sergeants, like squad leaders, get treated like a child.
No shit.
Like, that's why I stayed in
That's
snipers
crazy,
when I was
yeah.
on active duty, because as an E5, I had more freedom and more leniency as an E5 team leader than I would as a squad leader on a line company.
Yeah, so definitely, and that's the thing. it took me 6 years to get into sniper section. I mean, I didn't try the years before that because I never really knew about sniper section. But after just being in sniper section for 2 years at this point, I definitely would recommend if you do join the Army National Guard or infantry unit to look into like joining in the sniper section, because it is kind of like more of a elite group of guys, more squared away guys for sure. Whereas like if you're just part of a regular line unit, it's gonna be you're gonna get a mixture of like really squared away guys and then like shitbags, and they're gonna kind of bring the section down. So if you want to be like that elite guy, but you don't want to go special forces or ranger, then definitely look into joining the sniper section. What else you got? Any?
I'm a big proponent of just joining the military service in general, especially right out of high school. I think there's nothing better to figure out what the heck you want to do in life. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, if you do 3 years, you get access to the GI Bill. I mean, there's so many benefits for life. Having veteran status, which opens the doors for jobs, grants, scholarships, business loans.
And the GI Bill, if you don't know what the GI Bill is, it's a way to pay for schooling and a way to, so while they're paying for your schooling, they're also going to provide some source of housing income as well. So it's going to allow you to reduce that stress of like worrying about working a job and going to school. So that is a huge benefit as well. I've only used, I think you get 36 months of the GI Bill, and I've used 2 months of it, and I used it for EMT school. So it's not like, hey, once you start using the GI Bill, it's just continually running. It's like you use it for like the set amount of time that you have it and you need it, and then you can use it again for any other schooling that you're doing. For instance, I think I can use it for flight school if I want to go to flight school as well.
Yeah, and you can use it for like any number of certifications. Like in our platoon alone, we've got one guy that's going to be a motorcycle tech mechanic. We've got one guy that's going to HVAC. Several guys doing paramedic, fire, law enforcement, and the GI Bill covers all of that. Plus, there's tuition assistance. There's education dollars for duty, which that's a National Guard only incentive.
Yep. I used that all through college. I only used EDD through college, and then I applied for FAFSA. So if you are doing National Guard in college, make sure to do EDD to pay for your college, and then also apply for FAFSA. It's kind of like just extra money in your pocket to pay for bills and rent. Since we got limited time right now, let's do
like 10 minutes.
What's some pros of joining the National Guard? Like,
so I think the National Guard is, especially now, you've seen this, is that you can have a full-time career and you're still a part of that military, so you still get that, go have some fun, shoot some guns.
Some benefits too.
Some benefits, get access to that brotherhood and that camaraderie and opening those doors on that side. And then you still have a civilian career that you can completely devote your time into and advance. And, it's only 1 week a month and a few weeks in the summer.
Yeah, I think if you were to start active duty and like stay active duty, that's all you would know. But I think once you do switch from active duty to National Guard, you realize that you can have the incentive of living a civilian life, and then you can have the benefits and the pros of living like a military lifestyle as well. So personally, I don't think I would switch from National Guard to go active duty because I enjoy my civilian life so much, but I also enjoy doing my small part as serving my country in the National Guard. So,
yeah. But that's also an option. Like, let's say you join the National Guard right out of high school or college or halfway through college or whatever, and you're in the National Guard and you're trying to find a job and you can't find a job or can't find a job that you want, you have that option to go active duty, and then you have a full-time job with a salary and benefits, because health insurance is a big thing.
Huge.
Like,
very cheap too.
That's actually one of the main reasons why I joined the National Guard instead of just doing college and then commissioning, was because I needed health insurance.
What is it? 35. It's like 35 a month or 45 a month.
For a single. And then if you're married, it's like 250 a month, but it covers so much, and a comparable plan would be like $1,500 a month for a family. Like if I had to pay out of pocket for health insurance.
Yeah, so that's definitely one of the bigger benefits that like they kind of use as an incentive into like keeping people to stay.
Mm-hmm. Vehicle registration, you get a free vehicle registration every year.
Yep.
Which isn't much, but it's those little things that add up, so it kind of helps negate some of the lower pay.
I think another cool thing is connections, because when you're at the unit, you are with and surrounded by a like diverse group of guys. So there's like people in the police force, fire department. You got people working like jobs at Amazon or something. So you were able to build a lot of connections, and it's a way to like kind of, if you do have a business on the side, like somebody in our section has a tractor business, and he's got everybody here to give out his information, and everybody here doesn't just live in one part of the state. They live all throughout the state, so it's a way for him to spread his word of his business throughout the state.
Yep. And to caveat off that too is you also have a diverse set of skills. Like when we go to the range, one of our guys is a certified paramedic, so he can work as our medic on the range. We have guys that have welding skills and like woodworking, like all these sorts of skills that on active duty you don't have, because everybody only knows the Army and it's what they did in their past life. They're like, oh yeah, I did that, 10 years ago. Here you have guys that have a trade and can bring that to the table. So I like that aspect, but the National Guard is definitely harder in the aspect of like trying to balance the military career and the civilian career.
And I do hear that a lot. I hear a lot of people say that the hardest part is, because you're probably so used to when you go from active duty to the Guard, is the accountability of being told, hey, we got be a PT at this time, and then it's just a way to keep you in shape. Whereas when you transfer to the Guard, it's like, okay, you got your civilian job, and then you come home and probably just relax, and then you're like, oh shit, I got drill this weekend. And I noticed a lot of people that do switch from active to the Guard have a tougher time staying in shape, and I think it's because they don't have that accountability. And I don't know if you feel the same way or.
100%. I mean, I joined a month out of high school, like 18, so like.
So it's like, oh, you really.
I've never had a real job other than the military, and it's been really hard, especially with injuries. And there's another guy here that was on active duty for a while as well that I knew, and he's actually here in this unit. And like our bodies have both just fallen apart. Like since we got out, I feel like they were just like hanging on by threads. And then when we got out of that tempo, everything just like my knees, like back, like.
I would have to say the biggest advice I would give you if you are joining the military is to document every injury you have. Because when you first join the military, they're going to be like, oh, don't do that. Like, it's a waste of time. Don't go to sick call. Don't document that with the medics. No, document everything, because that's what I did my first 4 or 5 years. And now I'm playing catch up with all my injuries. And I'm trying to, like, get paperwork for my injuries. And it's a lot tougher than if you just document it right on the spot. So
yeah, definitely get a sick call, get everything recorded. If you're having any issues, just get them documented, because when you get out, they're going to look for that documentation, as well as just actually taking care of yourself, not just like, oh, I'm fine, and throwing it off. And like, no, like you tore your rotator cuff, like you need to get that fixed, or whatever your injury is, you need to get it taken care of. And the biggest thing is that you have like a lot of like meathead personality, at least on active duty with the infantry guys, like a lot of jock type. And nobody wants to do like flexibility and mobility, and that is such an important part of recovery, injury prevention, preventative reps. Like, but that's something that's not really pushed like at all on active duty, and even like someone here, it's not really talked about, because
everybody just wants to lift.
They're fucking massive, and like that's one of the things I'm really trying to work on now is foam rolling, flexibility,
that pliability. Trying to be the next Tom Brady.
Heyo. Get some bands,
Yeah, band workout. Let's end it with, what is, if somebody's having a tough time deciding between active duty and the National Guard, what is your advice for them on choosing between active or Guard?
So if they have a set plan of like, I want to go to college, or this is the career route I want to go and get into, I think the National Guard is a good way to kind of get your feet in both doors. If you're coming out of wherever and you really don't know where you want to go, or you're very young and want to go see things, I think active duty is a great way to do that. Whether it's Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, whatever, getting in there, getting a full-time job with a career and benefits is a great way to go if you don't know what you want to do. If you already have goals, National Guard is a great way to maintain both civilian and military.
Oh yeah. Anything else you want to say?
No. Any other questions you got for me? Or
mainly it was just the pros and cons of both, because you've been able to do both. And then if you were to do it over again, I guess, would you start active then go guard, or would you join guard and then?
If I was to do it over again, I would have taken my full ride ROTC scholarship to UCF and commissioned from the get-go, and I'd be sitting at captain right now.
So there you go. If you get a full ride commission, basically take that. Don't go active. What was your reasoning behind dropping that commission and then going active?
I didn't want to lead 40 dudes into combat at 21.
Respectable.
So I joined the Army as infantry to go and deploy to Afghanistan. And now I'm playing catch-up, doing school, and trying to commission and go through OCS. All that.
So yeah, I personally, if you're having a tough time choosing, if you do want to go to college, like he said, definitely join the Army National Guard. It's just a way to pay for college, and then if you do decide after college, you can commission and then go active duty if you want. So.
Oh yeah, because you did that. You were in the Guard and you did your full degree while you're in.
Joined the Guard. Was hoping to get commissioned as an officer, but yeah, I got in some trouble. Made some mistakes in college. If you watched my first form athlete search video, you would have saw that. But yeah.
But yeah, so you did that, and now you're going into a career, and you're looking at other options. So you've done a lot with the Guard. You've deployed.
Deployed. Went to air assault school. I've done training in South America with the Guyanese Defense Force, the Brazilian Special Forces as well. So.
Yeah, so that's another good.
Yeah, you still get to do a lot of stuff. So it's not like you're going to be. If you want to deploy a lot, then go active duty. But if you're just trying to pay for college, serve your country, and National Guard's the way to go. All right, thank Sergeant Ford for his time. If you guys could give me a thumbs up. We're doing this like prior to formation. Probably have to be out there. Probably got a text already too. But I'll see you guys on the next one.
All right.